Happy Monday, y'all. If you notice, I am in the black pair of glasses, but in the next part of the video is all yellow because my yellow ones just broke. Look, I had to hot glue it. But anyway, happy Monday. We talking about grit today. We're going to continue our series on freedom dreaming. And today we're going to talk about grit and how it has no place in our freedom dreaming. So, what is grit? I am going to give you the definition from one of my favorite books. Yes, I do love a good dictionary. And grit is stubborn courage, pluck. Stubborn courage or pluck. All right. So, what in the world does that have to do with education? So, I'm going to give you the Leah's version of grit. Grit is being okay that your money that you pay into the state every paycheck gets funded to in a fair funding for schools that is spent mostly outside of your city or out of your rural town and into the suburbs, and your children are left with very little to use. Grit is those stupid standardized tests that we have to give these kids repeatedly that have nothing to do with their lives, and they most times they don't know what it is on the test. I don't know what's on the test, and they have to go it alone. Grit is the Hunger Games. Yes, Leah, you done brought the Hunger Games. Yes, the heck I did. You know why? I Grit. Why I use the Hunger Games? So I got introduced by the Hunger Games when I was in Sheridan West Academy, and a teacher, she's like, Wood. They all called me Wood. You know, they all know I read. She's like, I need you to read this book. Let me know if it's good for our kids. And I was like, all right, cool. It was the Hunger Games. Never heard of it before. I tried it. And I got hooked on it. And I actually read it all three books in a weekend because it was that good. Actually, I read the last book 3 times because I kind of couldn't get the end of the book. I was like, wait, what? All right. Anyway, so grit. Katniss Everdeen is the perfect example of grit. Why? Because in the book, I've never seen the movies. I just can't talk about that later. No, I'll tell you now. If I read the book, I can't watch the movie. If I watch the movie, I can't read the book. So I have read The Hunger Games, but I won't watch the movie. I have watched um, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. What's that other one? Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Jason, not Jason. Oh, what is that book called? Percy Jackson. Never read the book. It just throws me off. I can't do it. I wouldn't even enjoy either one because I'd be doing that whole comparing contrasting thing. All right, that's a weird fact about me. Anyway, Katniss Everdeen in this book. So she is in the poorest district, and she is the poorest of the poor. So poor that Peter, he burns the bread on purpose so that she can get it. He gets a pine cake, but still, how does that fit with our kids? Our kids are in the poorest districts, if they are even in the city or they are rural, and they don't have any resources. I mean, if you think about grit in terms of resources, like I said, are your tax dollars not funding your schools? You being okay with corporations like cable companies and cell phone companies who have headquarters in your city and state, but don't pay any taxes for it. That is okay with you because you don't know about it and you allow it to stay. Anything you allow to stay will continue. So that is grit. Oh, that's weird. Look at that. All right. So that is grit. Grit is being okay with less and telling them to work harder. You can do it. It's the admission test, the special admit schools that completely exclude any sped kids or any kids that are not so great, but they have a whole bunch of talent. It is that whole thing of in spite of. You have succeeded in spite of this. Perfect timing, right? That's what that means. So, as we know of the Hunger Games, Katniss, rides for her sister. She's like, I got this, honey. You can't do this. I got this. And so it's her and Peter, and they go up against all these well funded other districts. That is our kids. We are competing with other kids, and it is them succeeding in spite of not having anything, in spite of us having to do a donor choose, in spite of us not having enough money to have libraries and librarians and sped assistants and classroom assistants. And that is their grit, is how, they succeed. So, they're that in spite of, like, I came from the ghetto, but I worked hard in spite of everything. I was very determined. That ain't got no place in our education system. It ain't got no place in our dreaming. We are not playing the Hunger Games here. Okay? And as parents, we need to be the ones that say, nah, we ain't doing this. We got to go back and make sure that this ain't gonna happen again. Look at my hair, y'all. See my hair? It's having a rough day. So that is grit. We need to make sure that that's not happening with our kids. As parents, we need to build on our resources, and we can just do the simplest things to get rid of grit. Okay? I know people don't like speaking in front of people other than the school board, but please go speak in front of the school board. Please. If you don't feel comfortable speaking, write an email. Write the day before. They take, like, Philly takes testimonies by email up to the day before the school board meeting, and they get read and they get entered in books and public record, and your words are hit. So with Philly, they have this new goals and guardrails. I finally looked it up and I wrote it down. So they have their goals. The board's goals is in reading. So in grades 3 to 8 in ELA, their proficiency should go up by 65% by August 2025, I think. And in math, it's grades 3 to 8, proficiency up to 52%. And what I mean by what we have to do is that as parents, we have to find another way to do it. As Lord knows, I hate those tests. I hate seeing my babies cry because they don't understand that stuff on a test. And I hate looking at that test knowing that I can't help them. It's that illusion of individualism. We're not doing that. That's not how we built. We are built as a community. It's in the soul of our DNA. It's in our DNA to help each other out. And that illusion, of I can do it all by myself, it's a lie. And it is harmful to our children. We should not be participating in that. When we talk about goals and guardrails, I think of Dr. Seuss's book. I have two favorite Dr. Seuss books. I know he's all in it, but I saw it on Mulberry Street. Yeah, we know those are horrible. My two favorites, and my first favorite is All the Things You Can Think. Everybody thinks it's all the places you go. No, All the Things You Can Think. I love that book. It's just about the joy of thinking and imagination. And the other one is Hooray for Diffendoofler Day. We need like to be like the Diffendoofler school, because in Diffendoofler school, it is not all testing and rote, and it is finding the joy and the relevance in what we teach and how our children learn. And when they took those tests, yeah, you see how it all worked out. Go read the book. It's a good one. So, and that's how we go with grit, okay? We got to be able to give our children the resources. Give it to them. Here, baby. This is how we're going to work it out together. We can't do that. Oh, you got to practice. You got to do it by yourself. You're not trying hard enough. Yes, they are. You just got to do it a different way. Stop doing it the old way. It's not working. That's not how education was essentially built up. That is not how it was originally done. Never, ever, 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 ever. For millennia, it's not been done that way. And it's only been done this way now because people trying to make money and workers to make other people rich. We don't want that. We want our children to be educated and thoughtful and problem solvers, and grit ain't it. This is so necessity is the mother of all invention. What about time and resources and opportunities? Those are the legs of innovation. That's the foundation. So we can't be doing that. Okay. If I got plenty of books that work on that. So hold on. Now that if you're in Philly, now that you got a whole bunch of everybody pretty much got a Chromebook, yeah, they're probably going to keep them. So why don't we make use of them? So I have this book, Google Apps for Littles. It is in our library. It has different ways of how, look at this, to use resources for children, for our babies to learn. Draw your vocabulary word with Google Draw. That ain't grit. That's using. That's finding another way. Where's the other? Oh, here's the weather chart. Ouch. Here. Here's the weather chart. You see it? Again, using our resources. We have the resources, so why are we not using them? Okay, we can't do all this. They got to toughen up. They got to just try harder. If we don't give them what they need, they cannot grow. They cannot. They will not. They will quit. That's why we have so many kids that have left school, who've dropped out, who stopped coming, because one, it's not relevant to their life. Two, nobody wants to keep trying. You're like, I never got the first time. You just kept shoving me along, and now you want me to keep trying and try harder. Why would they want to do that? You don't want to be there like that. You don't want to do that. You'd be like, I'm not doing this. What if somebody sent you to work? Okay, look, parents have this thing right now where they don't give you no training. So what if when you went to work and as a para in a classroom, you kept getting tested on things you should know that they never taught you in a way that you should know? How would you feel if every time you got an observation for that? Horrible, annoyed, pissed off, and ready to quit. Okay? So if that's what you want to do as an adult, can you imagine a child who has had this thrown at? I mean, come on, y'all. We already know. Can you imagine how a child feels and we're adults and it's the way we feel? Okay? Ain't no grit. This ain't the Hunger Games, and we're not going to let it continue to be the Hunger Games. We have to make a new way. We have to try something new. And it is up to us to find a way to do it. Like I said, we are a collective. We have collaborations. We got a whole darn internet. That means we can get together and talk amongst each other, right? So let's get to it. Let's build a new education system where every child succeeds, not just the rich or the whitest. Yeah, I said it. The affluent. Okay? We can do this, y'all. We can do this.